Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
Today we're taking a look at the largest and most unique LEGO DC set ever made and posing the age-old question, does different mean better? Hey everyone, I'm Adam, aka Ant Bandit, and welcome back to another Beyond the Brick review where today we're looking at the massive LEGO Batcave Shadow Box. This huge display piece is based on the 1992 Batman Returns film. It has 3,981 pieces and is available as of June 2023 for the retail price of $400 US. That makes this the most expensive DC set LEGO has ever produced. And not only that, this is an entirely new concept that we've never seen before with that shadow box premise, the logo cut out of the front with the Batcave visible behind it. It's very much designed to be a shelf display piece that you can take down, open up, and interact with if you want to. Now, I will say at the top of this video that as a Batman fan and a LEGO fan, when I first saw pictures of this set, I was very hesitant. That's the word I'm going to use. As with anything new, this has received a lot of fan criticism, mostly about how boxy it is in nature or how unappealing that high price tag is for a display piece like this. But I will say, despite all of that, and despite this not being a perfect set by any means, there's a lot to look at and a lot to appreciate here. And we're gonna get into all of those details later on in this video. As always, big thanks to LEGO for sending us this review copy. All of the thoughts and opinions here are my own. Before we get into the big black box that is this set, let's look at the big black box that it comes in. We've got images of the set on the front. There's some artwork of Batman Returns on the side with Batman, Catwoman, and Penguin. A really nice layout of all the minifigures included with the Batmobile there on the top. And on the back, we have an image of the entire set opened up with some of the features displayed. One small Easter egg, if you flip the box upside down on the bottom, there's some background imagery showing pieces representing other heroes like the Flash, there's Wonder Woman's lasso, and even a piece of Kryptonite. The build experience is broken up into 4 separate instruction manuals, with the first few pages dedicated to some info about the set and the design process. And as always, it's really cool to see LEGO naming their design team and talking about all of their individual contributions to the project. We also get a picture of how to properly hold this set by picking it up from the bottom and making sure it's closed whenever you're moving it. Let's kick it off with the 7 minifigures included in this set, starting of course with Batman. This minifig uses the same firm rubber cape and cowl piece first seen in the 1989 Batman minifigure. However, it's been updated here to represent the slightly different look he has in Batman Returns. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the rubber cape and cowl piece because it restricts his movement so much and makes it really difficult to fit him into smaller spaces. He does have an alternate face print for Bruce Wayne, and overall this figure looks decent. However, I am disappointed that LEGO didn't use this set as an opportunity to give all the minifigures here more detailed arm and leg printing. Especially for this version of Batman, I feel like we needed a face print with black eye paint and pupils instead of those whited out eyes that look really inaccurate to what you see in the movie. Speaking of white eyes, next up we have Batman. With this secondary suit usually displayed in the vault, it has an identical torso print to the previous figure, but it comes with that brand new dual molded cowl piece, which looks really great. This suit comes with the fabric cape and an additional Bruce Wayne head if you want to swap it out for that transparent piece, and it's the only one that can actually fit inside the Batmobile to drive it. The one with the rubber cape is way too big. Even though this cowl works better for a Batman from the animated series instead of Michael Keaton, this is still a great evolution for the part for future Batman minifigures in general. Keep in mind that this bat suit will be showing up in a ton of future sets, and that rubber cape Batman already comes in a cheap poly bag, so neither are exclusive to this set and are accessible if you want to get them elsewhere. This set does have 5 exclusive figures, starting with Bruce Wayne. He's got a simple torso print for his suit, but does come with the exact same head as the other 2 Batman minifigs in this set, so in total, you're getting 3 of them. But I will say that hairpiece is incredibly accurate to Michael Keaton and looks fantastic. And you can't have Bruce Wayne without Alfred Pennyworth, who also looks incredibly accurate here. He's got 2 alternate face prints, one concerned and one with a little bit of a smile. Next up, we have Danny DeVito's Penguin, and the first time we've ever gotten a Danny DeVito minifigure in LEGO, which is great. He's got his umbrella, his fish, his top hat, and a single snarling expression, and overall just a highlight minifig of this lineup, and the first time we've ever gotten that neck fur piece in reddish brown, which is a super useful part. Then we have Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, another highlight of this lineup and a great looking figure. She uses the Black Panther headpiece as her cat ears, and the face print actually looks really good. But this is another figure that would have benefited from some extra arm and leg printing for accuracy, considering the leather seams that run all over her suit. Lastly, we have Max Schreck, who feels a little bit tacked on here, even though he's one of the main villains in the movie. He's got a simple torso print, a singular face expression, and is the first minifig ever to represent Christopher Walken in LEGO. These are definitely the characters I would expect to see in a Batman Returns set like this, but overall, this lineup just left me wanting more. I wish we had some more complex printing with some more detail, something to make these minifigs feel a bit more special or exclusive to this massive set. Even more minifigs like Selena Kyle or Penguin's Henchman, or even some molded penguins for Danny DeVito's army would have been really great. Moving on, let's look at the actual set, because this thing is massive, and when you pick it up you can feel just how much weight it has inside with all of that raw brick making up the structure. The entire model is only 16 studs deep when it's closed up, and it is impressive seeing everything that the designers squeezed into that shallow footprint. On the front, you can see the cutout of that iconic logo with the exposed Batcave behind it, and for me, this was a really fun part of the set to see come together with all of the curves and slopes that make up that shape, and it looks really good. However, when it's closed up, the logo obscures a lot of details inside the set when you're looking at it from different angles, and ends up feeling pretty restrictive in an already cramped amount of space, almost like it's closing in around this really tight Batcave. The back of the box, of course, isn't very pretty, but that won't matter when it's up on a shelf. There's even some corner pegs here to make sure that it can be pushed flush against a wall. You can also see all of the yellow knobs that interact with different functions in the set. Now let's open it up and take a look at the interior, and wow, does this thing get really big when you open it up. It definitely feels very impressive in scale. Looking at the left side, we have the Bat computer with a ton of different controls and screens, and two chairs for Bruce Wayne and Alfred. Rotating a knob on the back will spin Bruce's chair all the way around, which is a really fun feature, and a second knob will slide a large stickered panel back and forth to alternate between images of the Penguin and Catwoman. Moving up the walkway, we have the drawbridge vault where you can store that second bat suit, and you can raise and lower that door by rotating another knob on the back. There's also a light brick installed over the bat suit that you can activate by reaching around the back, but I do wish this was tinted blue or white instead of that orange color. There's a second door function with this equipment locker that you can open and close these sliding doors from the back. The ground floor on the left side has a wall of tools to repair the Batmobile with, and a fairly empty cave section underneath the Bat computer walkway. Next up, we have the Batmobile on the platform in the middle of the set, and this is definitely one of the most eye-catching central features of the model. The platform itself looks great, and there's also a door at the back that you can open up manually to pull the Batmobile out, and then press a button at the top to drop that door back down. It seems like this function is primarily here to make it easier to remove the Batmobile from the side of the model while it's closed up. Above the platform, there's a brick-built bat symbol in the side of the cave that looks fantastic. I love all of the parts and techniques used here, but this is something that doesn't show up in either of the movies, so it's a bit of creative liberty by the designers, but I'm still glad it's here because it looks so good. Here's a look at the Batmobile we get in this set. It's incredibly sleek and accurate to what we see in the films, and you can even rotate this gear to pop out the guns, which looks really cool. As the tires rotate, they turn a flame piece that you can attach to the jet at the back of the Batmobile, and when you want to store that flame piece, there's a hidden panel in the back of the Shadow Box where you can stash it. Now, this is the second minifig scale version of this Batmobile, with the first being a very limited edition gift with purchase back in 2019, and this new one is definitely an improvement over that. But later this year, we're getting a third version of this Batmobile that looks nearly identical to the one in this set. So if you love this Batmobile and you don't want the Shadow Box, you could easily wait a couple months to pick up that separate set. Regardless, this new edition looks spectacular, and for me, visually, it's one of the standout features in the set. Over on the right side of the shadow box, we have the reverse side of that logo on the front. And there's not really too much to say about this section. There's not a lot going on, but we do have some really good looking rock work with those cave walls, plenty of bats hanging from the ceiling, and lots of studs on the ground floor to pose minifigs. Overall, I have very mixed feelings about this model, and I have to give the design team credit for trying such a fresh approach with this. It's so unique and very different from anything else, but it feels like this set has an identity crisis, and it gets in its own way of really succeeding in any one area, which leads to it being kind of middle of the road, which is not something that you want to see for a $400 set. For every pro or positive thing here, there's a con that cancels it out. For example, we get an amazing Batmobile that you'll also be able to get in its own separate set later this summer, basically an identical version. So that's not exclusive. We have 7 minifigures, which is a low amount for a set like this, but 2 of which aren't exclusive and 5 have unremarkable printing and details. And then you have the shadow box, which in concept is a fresh idea, but it really limits the amount of space you have on the interior to make this a detailed and accurate display model. On top of all of that, I'm struggling to see how this could be a conducive play set as well, because yes, it does open up and you've got all of this usable space in front of it, but I feel like most collectors are going to be closing it and displaying it on a shelf as it's intended in that closed state. And the thought of taking it all down and opening it up and taking advantage of all of that space feels like it would get tiresome. Meanwhile, we have other big sets like the Lion Knight's Castle, which has both displayability and playability for the same price as the Batcave at $400, which makes me feel like for everything you get here, this Batcave just doesn't stack up. That being said, with all its good qualities and flaws, that might mean that this set is just not for me. But I'd love to know what you think about it. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is this one that you're gonna display in your own collection? Let us know down in the comments below. That's about it for this review. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, I'm Adam, and I'll see you in the next one.